Welcome, guys, to another episode of the ILIAD. I promise no cats, but I just had to. Today we're going to talk about book 6 to 12. Yeah, let's get this started. Alright, if you watched the previous 7 episodes, then you already know the whole summary. From all the way from, Achilles still bundling up in his tent, being very stupid, and then also, rejecting Agamemnon's promise of giving his riches and briars back if he continues to fight in the war, and we're like, reject! That's basically exactly what happens. So let's get this party started again. What happens next is completely a mystery, and we already talked about the whole summary where great Ajax, little Ajax and stuff. We also get Achilles trying to go back home, and then, we don't really know much from then on. So now let's continue a bit with our own little bit of a review. My analysis. So for now, books 6 to 12 are pretty okay. I'll just say, if I was the person to decide to vote on the Rotten Tomatoes of a 49% or an 80%, I would choose somewhere between these 65%, because Homer actually takes too long to describe events that should take a few words this isn't from the book range that we're doing, but let me give you an example from a different one. The Rage of Achilles. Rage, goddess, sing the rage of perilous son Achilles. Mother was doomed, the cost of the Achaeans' countless losses. Hurling down on the house of death so many steady souls. Great fighters' souls, but made their bodies carry on. Feast for the dogs and birds. And the will of Zeus was moving toward its end. Begin muse when the two first broke and clashed. Agamemnon, lord of men, and brilliant Achilles. What god drove them to fight with such a fury? Apollo, the son of Zeus and Leto. Incensed at the king, he swooped the fatal plague through the army. Men were dying, and all because Agamemnon spared Apollo's priest. Yes, Chryses approached the Achaeans' fast ships to win his daughter back. I mean, that should be to simplify, rage! Sing the goddess rage, Achilles! Zeus has made a plague on this camp because Agamemnon made a terrible mistake. He took away the priest's daughter and is not willing to give back. That should, take a few seconds. So, yeah, this isn't as good as in detail, but in fact, this is the only version of the Trojan War, other than other sources that have been talked about, that this is probably the only version of the Trojan War that's ever going to be revealed to us. And all I can say right now is that, yeah, this is going to be terrible, and this is going to be a long day. So, how does all this happen? Well, not really much of this happened in my idea, but sure, maybe it is long and lengthy, but that is one of the reasons why we like to read Homer anyway. So then, why read Homer at all? I mean, why read this book? The Iliad itself isn't a book. It's a series of books that's turned into an epic poem. So, why read all these 6 to 12 books, should I say? Well, the only reason is that because your teacher will force you, and the second reason is because you'll probably want to know the account itself. Yes, it may be too lengthy and sometimes, and have some words that you may not know and need to Google it up, or at least Wikipedia it up, if it exists. And then, it's not always the greatest idea at all. I mean, Homer, by today's standards, isn't a great rhymer, but he probably was a great rhymer in Greek. The only reason why we couldn't even rhyme all this was because it's translated into English. You know, like those things when you try to translate a Chinese poem that rhymes in Chinese when you pronounce it in Chinese, but then when you translate it into English it messes up the rhyming and the tone you're using. Well, that's exactly what happened here, and I think that's one of the reasons why it cost it a 19%, it's from the 90% club. I mean, if this was the whole thing was turned into a movie, which it was, but then it's so terrible, that would probably get a 43% of Rotten Tomatoes. And yeah. So I've been talking enough, and so let me give you my opinion of this. On a scale of 10 stars, I would give it 6 stars. Because it's still good, but then again, it's not really that good too. Homer did a good job describing all of this. I will have to admit that. But what I can't admit is that he really made it too lengthy and said some pretty unnecessary words. It might have been necessary in Greek, but probably not in English. At least for today's videos, which is probably one of the reasons why people don't even like reading the Iliad itself, except for scholars and other people who really love enjoying it and read it and tell it to other people as a career, like OSP. It's too lengthy. It's like a waste of their time when they could just read something simpler. So yeah, that is the end of today's analysis of Book 6 to 12. So, we're halfway through the series. And if you guys joined me until then, I hope you guys enjoyed the whole series. I'll see you guys in the next episode soon. Shine out. Peace. Cheers! Clink! I wish there was someone who could clink this. Oh. See you guys soon.